Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Innovation Groundbreakers, a production of the World Summit Awards. If you are curious about global innovation tied to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, then you've come to the right place. I'm your host, Catherine Warren, a World Summit Awards board director and president of FanTrust. I've got a background in media tech with a focus on community building. And for the past 7 years, I've built bridges between online and real world communities. I've learned a ton, I've built some great relationships, and I want to share this with all of you. So if you support innovation, if you're an entrepreneur building your next big thing, or if you work in economic development, then you've come to the right place, and I'm inviting you to come along for the ride. With each episode, I interview thought leaders around the world so we can learn about the trends, the trials, and their successes when it comes to building a culture of innovation in their home nation. On today's show, I'm really psyched to be in conversation with my WSA colleague and friend, Sachi, a sustainable development advocate and prop tech innovator. Sachi is the co-founder of the field service management company I4T Global, which is out to disrupt and streamline service delivery and harness valuable data. Sachi, I'm so happy to see you. Where are we catching you today?
I'm really excited to join you, Catherine. I'm joining you today from Sydney, Australia, down under.
Very nice. And tell us a bit about the ecosystem there. I'd love to hear about some of the leading innovations in Sydney and nationally, and what the secret sauce is for innovation in Australia.
Wow, Australia is quite a unique country, Catherine, because it's the world's largest island, after all, and it's a continent on its own, the sixth largest country in the world after Russia, USA, China, Brazil,
Canada.
and Canada. Exactly. It's quite unique in terms of the geographical location, plus if you look at Australian population, it's primarily driven by migrants. So 1 in 4 Australian is born overseas, and it's quite a diverse population that we have. I think that, I believe, is a secret sauce for the success of Australian economy and the startup ecosystem. And looking at what's unique, what Australia brought to the world, the first thing that comes to my mind is Wi-Fi that we take for granted. When back in 1990s, CSIRO, the National Science and Research Institute of Australia, taking credit to inventing Wi-Fi, which we have now embraced as part of our life. We can't, I don't think we can imagine a world without Wi-Fi today. So that, I believe, is the benchmark of Australian innovation. But looking into startups, looking into companies that have gone beyond Australia, there's plenty. The first thing that comes to my mind is Atlassian. I believe directly or indirectly, most of us, even the entire majority of the global population, would have come across at least a project management tool introduced by Atlassian, because it's used by companies like NASA to launch rockets, SpaceX, or Tesla to launch a new vehicle. And these are homegrown innovation, which has gone beyond Australia and become a part of the global ecosystem today. And on the other hand, we have even disruptors like Canva, which has completely revolutionized the graphic design industry, where it was primarily focused on people with certain skill level. Now, even a school child can discover their innovation, creativity using simple online tools like Canva.
I know that I'll be thinking of Australia now every time I try and log on to Wi-Fi. So thank you for that.
Exactly.
And tell us about your own entrepreneurial journey, Sachi. What are you working on to advance technology and innovation?
Currently, I'm taking on my new challenge, I4T Global. Well, I still feel it's new. Now this is the 8th year that we are working on, but I feel it's new because every day it's exciting, and this is early morning today, and I'm pumped to join you with this call, then after get on with the exciting day ahead of me, because what I4T Global does is it allows me to use technology to connect people and improve quality of life of people across the board, because we primarily focus on the field service management industry, starting from prop tech, moving into services and construction, and even uh, regenerative energy networks like EV charge installations. So it's a cross-platform, cross-industry solution that we provide. But the fundamentals are, it's about ensuring safety, transparency, compliances, and efficiency. It's about improving quality of life. And at the moment, that's what I'm really passionate, in addition to keeping my radar on every year for the past 7+ years that I've been doing for WSA, because I'm very passionate about other fellow innovators who are using technology to make life better, not just here, but make life better globally.
Now, you've talked a bit about impact, and I know that's important to you. What role does impact play in your business model, and how did it help you finance your business?
That's a very, very interesting question. The moment you ask the question, how did you manage to find it? I think this is the common problem every startup or every founder would put as the first, second, and third priority. It is not easy, Catherine. Sometimes our visions are very pure, our intentions are very genuine, but when it comes to finding that fuel to propel this startup vehicle, that's where we start struggling. Sometimes it's just to get it started itself is a massive difficulty. And once the ball is rolling, then again to accelerate, it's again another difficulty. But the thing is, it's you need to stay true to your cause, your core values. I think that's what differentiates. Well, statistically, people are saying 99% of startups do fail. So we are only hearing about this 1% who did not. But I believe people who do fail give up too easily, too early. And it's that persistence, it's that perseverance, it's that never giving up attitude and staying true to your core values and believing in what you believe and creating that aura around you where everyone who you meet feels your vibe. They believe that you believe in it. And it's about that ability to convince everyone that you truly care for something. You truly care for social impact, because you are not just in it for the purpose of profits. You are in it to make profits so you can satisfy a purpose and you can scale it globally, starting with local intentions. I think it's staying true to your core values.
Mm-hmm. And that makes for a very compelling pitch. It helps attract and retain talent, and it can be a key differentiator against your competition, I would imagine.
Absolutely. You mentioned a very important word, talent, and that's one of the, how can I say, that's one of the biggest challenges that we have in Australian ecosystem primarily. I believe it's the same globally as well, but here we see, well, it's always a hunt for best talent, and it's a small community after all, because pretty much everyone wants to do something great, but to do that, you need to have that substance, and that substance comes from people with the right talent and the right skill level. And it's always a hunt, right? And especially in Australia, where we have it's compared to the landmass, we have a very low population density. And compared to the size of the entire island, we only have about 26 million population. So out of which people focus on technology and the startup sector are very minute. So the startup ecosystem is fighting for this talent. And one thing to find talent, Catherine, the other thing is to retain that talent and to nurture that talent. That resonates with me as a pure problem that I have been going through and I still am going through with my fellow entrepreneurs here.
Mm-hmm. And, we've talked a little bit about diversity being a secret sauce in Australia, the talent attributes of the country. To what extent is the government involved in boosting the innovation ecosystem there?
I think we are quite lucky, because if you look at Australia, the state government as well as each state, actually, even federal government, has so many incentives, and there's a lot of focus towards encouraging entrepreneurship, and there are a lot of facilities being introduced. Like one comes to my mind, this entrepreneurs program. Unfortunately, that is no longer available, but there are alternatives being introduced by the government, which worked as a launchpad to startups, people with ideas, people with true passion, people who truly care for them to find mentorship, investment opportunities, and most importantly, this network effect, because you cannot innovate only in your garage, maybe technology-wise, yes, but you can't scale it unless you connect with people. So Australian government is doing so much in terms of providing this network infrastructure, investment infrastructure, and startup hubs, primarily in hotspots like where I'm based in Sydney and Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, are being increasingly funded by the government. And the if you look at the policy side of aspects as well, there's a lot being done. At the same time, of course, a lot more can be done.
Mm-hmm. You know, as some ecosystems would very much be considered startup ecosystems, others scale ups. You've talked about the importance of scale and sustainable scale. What are some make or break things that need to happen in the Sydney area in order for it to kind of advance on that scale trajectory?
I think Sydney is already leading in the Australian front. So if you had to take one hotspot, I believe Sydney definitely is. And Melbourne is not so behind, then followed by Brisbane, Adelaide, and the other states. Um, Well, I think it might take a bit more time because the population and the skill and the infrastructure is being built, is being enhanced because Australian startup ecosystem, Catherine, is not very mature. It does not run many decades behind. It's relatively new if you compare with the global hotspots. But looking at if I'm to overlay Sydney from the beginning, or Australia from the beginning of the startup ecosystem to other hotspots that we identify globally, I like the trajectory. It's heading in the right direction, but it might need a bit more time. And the population increase would help. At the same time, population, not only the population increase, that's talent nurturing and the skill upliftment. And if that is again uh, empowered by the government sticking to the best policies as they have been, and empowering entrepreneurs and facilitating these matchmaking opportunities where entrepreneurs meet the right funding opportunities, I believe we are heading the right direction.
Excellent. All right, I'd love to play a little rapid fire game with you, Sachi. It's called Rose, Bud, Thorn. And I don't know if you know it, but for our audience, here's how it works. I'm going to ask Sachi to give us a rose, which is something good that happened recently in Australia. Next, a bud, something new on the innovation horizon that you're excited about, Sachi. And then a thorn, an innovation challenge or a problem that Australia is facing. So Sachi, rose, bud, thorn. Let's dive in. Pick your rose.
I think it's how Australia is embracing generative AI. I consider rose.
Excellent. Pick your bud.
Lack of talent, lack of generative AI talent itself is a bud at the moment.
Okay, so well, a bud can be something exciting and new on the horizon, and I guess you're saying that AI is a bit of a double-edged sword. So it's
Exactly.
solving problems, bringing new problems, addressing talent issues, but also undermining other talent concerns. So it is both a bud and a thorn. So now
Correct.
finally pick your thorn.
Maybe, well, it's actually a difficult question because I'm a very positive-minded person. I look at everything as a half glass, half full. So when you ask me to look at it from the other side, I find it a little challenging. But what I see is maybe Australia needs better investment infrastructure because one thing is startups are really struggling in terms of focusing on VCs, PEs, angel investors, and family offices. And looking at the global opportunities are immense. And that is one reason why a lot of Australian startups move out of Australia. So I would consider that as a thorn. We are losing some of good homegrown talent before it nourishes within the Australian ground.
Okay, but what a fantastic opportunity for global enlightened investors to look to Australia for their next strategic investment. So
Absolutely.
from your perspective, always seeing the glass half full, that's one aspect of the funding conundrum. So together we are embarking on a visit to Chile to celebrate with the World Summit Awards, to attend our global Congress and gala. And you know, Sachi, I think of our friends at WSA and the things that we've built to foster an innovation ecosystem across the world, and these lifelong relationships that have emerged through this support of digital content creators in achieving their goals tied to the UN SDGs. And so to our audience from wherever you are across the globe, you can get involved in WSA and you can find out more about becoming a winner by connecting with our team at wsa-global.org. So this year, as ever, Sachi, we have some incredible winners. What is inspiring you right now?
If I look at my personal calendar, just before the WSA Global Congress, that's where my excitement peaks. Why? Because I may be bringing some of the best Australian innovators to the global pool, plus the opportunity that we get at the WSA Global Congress to meet these like-minded individuals from completely different backgrounds, different cultures, ethnicities, geographical locations. It's an unbelievable opportunity, Kathleen. And even looking at now, people use this term network, but when it comes to WSA, it's not network capital. It becomes friendship capital. It goes beyond just someone that you used to know, just someone that you happen to know. It becomes someone that you become friends with, and you care for. And that, I believe, creates synergies beyond business context. And that's where the true global change makers nourish from each other in terms of getting inspiration, in terms of finding ways to accelerate their current impact to a completely different level. So this is the best time, and I'm at my peak excitement because we are less than a month away from Chile.
Brilliantly said, so well articulated, Sachi. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm looking forward to being together with our global colleagues in April. And to our Innovation Groundbreakers audience, I would love to hear from you. What makes your innovation ecosystem tick? If you're a startup founder, what do you need to succeed? You can drop us a line in the comments below and click subscribe for more WSA videos. Until next time.